The name of the story is Hot Nutcakes. Nut is this, for example, or maybe a walnut, right? There are different nuts, hot nutcakes, because the story is about a squirrel. The squirrel is an animal like this that has a big tail. This is the tail. And this squirrel likes to bake. It really loved baking. This is a squirrel. A squirrel. The squirrel loved baking. It loved making nutcakes. So little cakes. It had a window, and the cakes looked a little bit like muffins. The cakes looked a little bit like muffins, but these are the nutcakes. The squirrel put the nutcakes on the windowsill to cool. So this that's the window, and the windowsill is this board in front of the window. It put the nutcakes that it made on the windowsill, and it said, I have made 3 nutcakes. I have made 1 nutcake for me and 2 nutcakes for my squirrel friends. My squirrel friends are going to visit me, and we will have nutcakes. Then the squirrel turned around and went back into the kitchen to make some drinks. And when the squirrel looked again, the nutcakes were gone. Somebody had eaten all the nutcakes. There were only some crumbs left on the windowsill from the nutcakes. All right. So this squirrel thought, who do I know around here? Who do I know? I'll go and I'll ask, who has eaten my nutcakes that were for my friends? So first, the squirrel goes to the blackbird. The blackbird is black. And the squirrel went to the blackbird and said, have you eaten my nutcakes? Have you eaten my nutcakes? And the blackbird, of course, says, no, I haven't. I don't eat nutcakes. I haven't eaten your nutcakes because I don't eat cakes. I just eat worms. I just eat worms. So I haven't. Okay, so the squirrel was very sad. And the squirrel went to the next animal. The squirrel went to a swan in a lake because swans can fly, right? So it went to the beautiful white swan and asked, have you eaten my nutcakes? And the swan, because the squirrel knew, not knowing, no, but it wusste, there's an N, it knew that the swans, they eat all the bread and the rolls that people give them, right? They would eat nutcakes. So the squirrel went to the swan and said, have you eaten my nutcakes? I have made 3 nutcakes, 1 for me and 2 for my friends. And now my friends can't eat nutcakes when they come to me. I'm so angry. I'm so frustrated. But the swan said, no, I haven't eaten your nutcakes. I haven't eaten your nutcakes. I have had so much bread from the children today that I'm really full. I'm so full, I couldn't eat a single nutcake. So the squirrel was very, very sad. And it went to the last animal, which was a cuckoo. A cuckoo. A cuckoo. And went to the cuckoo because the cuckoo is it's a tricky bird, right? It likes to trick people. So maybe it was the cuckoo, the squirrel thought. And went to the cuckoo and asked, have you eaten my nutcakes? And the cuckoo, of course, said, I I haven't eaten any nutcakes. I don't like nutcakes at all. I just like bug cakes, right? I just like bug cakes. Bug cakes, they look like this. They don't have a nut on top, they have a bug on top, of course. Bug cakes, that's my favorite food. I haven't eaten your nutcakes, I have only eaten bug cakes all my life. That's my favorite food, bugs and bug cakes. So the squirrel went home and had to make more nutcakes. So it made 3 more nutcakes and put the nutcakes on the windowsill to cool down. It had made 3 nutcakes again. One for itself. One for itself, and one for his friends. 3 nice hot nutcakes on the windowsill. And then the squirrel turned around to lay the table. To lay the table is when you put on the table the plates, the knives, the forks, and the cups, and so on. That's to lay the table. So it turned around to lay the table. And of course, when it turned back around towards the window, they were gone. That's right. No hot nutcakes, just crumbs. It was so angry. And of course, again, it went back to the blackbird. That's the Amazon. The Amazon. Have you eaten my nutcakes? No, I haven't. I don't like nutcakes at all. I just like worms and caterpillars. Caterpillars are those worms that turn into butterflies, right? So worms, I just like worms and caterpillars. Worms and caterpillars. I haven't eaten your nutcakes. I don't know why you're coming to me. So the squirrel, very sad, went to the next animal, the swan, and said, have you eaten my nutcakes? And the swan says, me? Oh my God, no, I haven't eaten your nutcakes. I have had so many rolls and so much bread. Bread is bigger, right? Rolls are smaller and you eat them for breakfast. I've eaten so many rolls this morning from the children that I could not eat a single nutcake. Lastly, again, the squirrel went to the cuckoo and said, have you eaten my nutcakes? And of course, the cuckoo just says, I only like bug cakes, not nutcakes. I don't know why you're coming to me. So the squirrel thinks, I have had enough. I have to do something. Ich habe etwas zu tun. Ich muss etwas tun. I have to do something. So this time, the squirrel didn't bake any cakes. The squirrel put a big sign. A sign. This is a street sign. This is a street sign. A sign. A sign. The squirrel put a big sign. Fresh. The squirrel put out a sign that said fresh, free, so no money for no money, oops, free nutcakes. Fresh free nutcakes, 3 p.m. So 3 hours past 12 o'clock in the afternoon. Fresh free nutcakes at 3 p.m. At 3 p.m. in the afternoon, who shows up? Who shows up? That's right, the cuckoo, the swan, and the blackbird. The squirrel, very, very clever, said, oh, so nice of you to come for the free, fresh nutcakes. I'm going to get them in 1 minute. I had to make new ones. Ich musste. I had to make new ones because there was a big problem with the old ones. I went to get some water for the nutcakes and I went to a puddle. A puddle is when it rains, on the ground there's water. That's a puddle. I went to a puddle for the water, but it wasn't rainwater. there was a problem with the last nutcakes that I put on the windowsill. The water wasn't just water. The water from the last nutcakes was dog pee. I'm so happy that nobody ate those nutcakes on the windowsill, because there was dog pee in them. But luckily, nobody ate them. They just fell off the windowsill, and there were only some crumbs. That moment when the three birds knew that they had eaten dog pea cakes, they threw up all three and flew away. So then the clever squirrel knew that all three birds had stolen the nutcakes and eaten them. And the squirrel, of course, made some new nutcakes for its friends and had a nice party and a good story to tell.